Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be Red Notice, starring Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. Let's get into it. So this was an entertaining movie, decent enough. I've seen the trailer for this movie for some time now, and finally it's launched. So you have Dwayne Johnson playing as John Hartley, Ryan Reynolds plays as Nolan Booth, Gal Gadot plays as the Bishop, Rita Arya plays as Inspector Dawes, and only other character that's worth the notice, Soto Voice. He's plays as a rich man who has one of the artifacts that the group is looking for, hid in a vault. So this at the beginning of the movie, there's a backstory that talks about Cleopatra had 3 eggs that was given to her, and of course these 3 eggs disappeared. No one knows where the eggs at. However, one of the eggs was retrieved and placed in the museum. That's where the movie starts off at. Hartley, which is Dwayne Johnson, plays as an FBI agent who is showing up to the museum that's international, and he links up with the Inspector Dawes, who's Interpol. And when they arrive there, they find out that the egg is that's sitting there in front of that display for everybody is a fake egg, and Ryan Reynolds is there with the real egg where he's going to make an escape. So they go through all the theatrics, and Ryan Reynolds escapes. When he escapes, he arrives home, and The Rock is sitting there at his house. Of course, Interpol is there. They pick him up. So they lock him up. Interpol puts the egg in a special container, but not in the same vehicle that he was in. And when they put that egg in that container, the Bishop, which is Gal Gadot, pretty much was one of the men on a mission. So she snatches the egg and replaces it. Meanwhile, when Hartley is thinking his business is done, he's taking a drink at a bar. Inspector Dodge shows up pretty much saying the egg was fake, and she was suspicious on him. And so she had him locked up, basically sent him to Russia, to some jail in Russia where you can only get there through helicopter with a lot of bad men. And so he's there with Booth, which is Ryan Reynolds' character. And when he's there, it's the ironic thing, pretty much they in there together. And of course, there's a lot of back and forth dialogue. They're telling their backstories, jokes, of course, with Ryan Reynolds. He's pretty much got the same, that's what he's known for. He got that personality in all his roles where he says quirky lines, the same type quirky lines he uses in Deadpool and all that. And pretty much all his movies, I can't say not one movie I ain't seen him in that even when he tried to do a serious role, you can't really take him serious. You know, his bread and butter is playing these type of roles like this. So, nevertheless, they got to break out of the jail cell. They come up with a plan, and they find a way to get in the helicopter. The plan is to get to the second egg. And when they get to the second egg, of course, the Bishop is there. She's plotting and planning too to get the egg as well. She gets there. Of course, she uses her Wonder Woman scenes where she's fighting both of them. But you see, it's a moment where Bishop flips Hartley over, and you're like, well, how'd she do that? Well, maybe she used his momentum against him, and that's how she flipped him. But that was a catch right there. Nevertheless, they get captured by Soto, and it was his house. She had already made a deal with him that they were coming to rob the egg. So she poisoned him. He passed out. And, of course, Booth knew where the third egg was. So she had the possession of 2 eggs. Booth knew where the third egg was. He told her it was in Egypt. She left. Meanwhile, Booth really knew he wouldn't tell nobody. And finally, Harley gained his trust, so he told Harley the backstory and where the third egg really was. So you find out after they go through all that Hartley and Bishop really was working together and they really love interest in a movie. And so Booth was pretty much like, wow. So they finally get the third egg, left Booth in Argentina, and there was a wealthy king in Carol that for his daughter's birthday he wanted to give her all three eggs. So of course they got all three eggs, and when her birthday party came, he gave her the eggs. Hartley and Bishop was sitting there at the top watching everything. And Sharon was there singing, and then Interpol intervened, and so they didn't seem surprised that it happened, and they just disappeared. Ed Sheridan had some little lines where he said, "I'm part of I was on Game of Thrones and everything like that. I'm Ed Sheeran," so he's fighting with the Interpol. So it fast forward 6 months later, they're living life. Hartley and Bishop is living life, and then they're on their yacht, and Booth shows up, pretty much telling them he wasn't mad that they, did what they did, and pretty much that 300 million that they got away with is no longer available. He tipped Interpol on how to lock their money, and they ain't have the money, so he has another score for them to do. And if they don't join them, Interpol was pretty much on their way to lock them up now. So at first, Hartley was like, "Nah, I'm not doing no another heist with you." So Bishop pretty much was like, "Nah, we need him. Plus, you two had good energy. Y'all were good together." And then she pretty much said to Hartley, "You trust me, you love me, or whatever." So he agreed to it. They agreed to do the heist, and they left off on a side boat. When Interpol got there, of course, they wasn't there no more. That was the end of the movie. Decent movie, but your typical heist type movie with good dialogue, good banter, decent action scenes, and two good actors, one great actress as well. So out of my 4-star rating system, I give this movie 2 out of 4 stars. It was decent. Subscribe to the channel, like the video.